Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, Hare Krishna. We are gonna continue
As you
reading from
cannot see
Srimad
the
Bhagavatam.
screen, Hare Krishna, you cannot see the sloka on the screen. It is just the same
Can't see.
single line. Yeah. Previously,
Can't
I
see
could
the screen.
see. Yeah. Now I cannot see any shloka on the screen. It is just one white line in the center. Yeah. Now it is okay. Yes. Perfect
Okay,
now.
thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Thanks. Thank you for letting me know. So we are continuing from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, chapter 16. Does anyone remember what we read yesterday?
Hare Krishna. We read that how Citraketu Maharaj saw Shesh, Ananta Shesh, Balramji Prabhu, and how he was white color and he was wearing blue clothes and he was wearing his beautiful ornaments. He was wearing his mukut, he was wearing his armlet, he was wearing his different bajuband, like the one in the hand and wrist and all his ornaments. And then he was smiling and he was also surrounded by all the liberated people like Sanat Kumaras, people like Sanat Kumaras who were liberated, the Mahatmas. He was surrounded by them. He wasn't alone. And then we also saw that as soon as he saw Chitraketu Maharaj saw him face to face, he chanted the mantras given by Narad Muni and he offered obeisances and he started crying. And then Prabhupada says that when we regularly see the deity in the temple, our sinful reactions are washed away. And this is how Lord is so merciful that even by reading, hearing, chanting, our whatever all of these activities, when we these Navda Bhakti Angas, when we do, then our sinful reactions are washed away. And then when Chitraketu Maharaj saw Anantashesh face to face, he started crying and he couldn't say anything. He couldn't uh, find proper words to glorify him, and he couldn't say uh, any stuti. And because as we all know that all the words are there to glorify Krishna, but he couldn't find any proper words and he couldn't do that. And then later, it is also said by Sanatan Goswami that we should sing the prayers sung by the devotees, and that is the proper way to glorify Lord, because devotees understand that Lord, his form, his positions, and they are able to suitably appreciate his form. So we are asked to repeat the prayers written by pure devotees. That is the proper way. And then he offered the prayers and then he glorifies Lord and he say that, oh Lord, you are Ajay. You're not conquered by anybody, but you can be conquered by your devotees. And this is like a reciprocating relationship, a loving relationship of the Lord, and it is with his devotees. And the most of this, you mentioned that it was gopis, that the gopis, they cannot live without seeing like Krishna cannot, he always spent his time with gopis. So this relationship of the loving, when there is reciprocation and it is a perfection of a relationship, so that was with Krishna and his devotee, and he is being conquered by his devotee, and his devotee is conquered by him. So this is a relationship where the love is the center and there are two people and the reciprocation is there and exchange of love is there. And then we read a lot of parts in this that explaining about the pure devotional service, that the pure devotee is not a part-time. He said that a pure devotee is for 24 hours. He always remembers Krishna and um, he's conquered and he conquers Krishna. In any circumstance, he's never to give up his love for Krishna. And devotee may be in any circumstance, but he just continues loving devotional service at the lotus feet of Krishna and cannot be stopped and it is the most powerful. It can attract Krishna's heart, and this kind of service can attract Krishna's heart when love is involved. And some might have desire to merge in Krishna, but the devotee never has that. He just want to serve Krishna with love, and that's why they are called sammati. The devotees are called, those are called sammati, and they want to engage in the loving relationship with Lord, and he's called nishkamkar, as he has no material desires, and it's only if even he has desires, those are the pure desires. So he's also called nishkam karmi. And pure devotees want to be conquered by Lord, and they have desire of Lord, please take away all my heart and just give me your love. And nothing else attracts them. Only humility, and Krishna is attracted only by the humility and the service attracts him. Nothing else attracts Krishna. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches us in Shiksha Ashtakam that I want nothing, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, na kavitam, jagdish sarva. So he's saying that I don't want anything. I just want to get engaged in your loving service. And then Prabhupada also teaches that what's the heart of a pure devotee? He just want to be engaged in the devotional service. And devotional service begins from liberation platform. And then you can serve Lord out of love only and no other desire. And that's how they attract Krishna's love and mercy. And that's how he is conquered. And then in the end, Prabhupada speaks about Krishna's quality of being merciful. Krishna's reciprocates when devotees completely surrender without any other desire. And then in the next verse, you explain that we each one of us has the ability. And where does this ability comes from? It comes from Krishna. And we become proud because we have that ability, and we might become proud that, but we should always remember that ability is coming from Krishna. We have some creativity in us because Krishna is the supreme creator. And by just trying to understand this material world, we can get the mercy of Krishna. And then Prabhupada says that the scientists get so proud, but they get so proud that, oh, I created, but we can only be the engineers as we are taking different elements, what is being created by Krishna. So we can only do the engineer. Krishna gives us the knowledge, intelligence, and forgetfulness. And he gives us the ingredients. And everything is supplied by Krishna. And when these things are taken, we don't know what to do with it. But by the mercy of Krishna, we can just engineer, we can produce things out of it. And Krishna is the supreme creator of all the ingredients. And we take and we do the sub-creations. And he's the rightful creator of everything. So we finished at this point about the creation that we mentioned. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. So we'll begin with text 36 today. Parmanu Paramamahatos.
Parmanu Paramamahatos.
Tvam Adi Antantara Vartitraya Viduraha.
Tvam Adi Antantara Vartitraya Viduraha.
Adav Ante Picha Satvanam.
Adav Ante Apicha Satvanam.
Yadruvam Tad Evantaralipi.
Yadruvam Tadevantaraleapi.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. You exist in the beginning, middle, and end of everything, from the most minute particle of the cosmic manifestation, the atom, to the gigantic universes and total material energy. Nonetheless, you are eternal, having no beginning, middle, or end. You're perceived to exist in these three phases, and thus you're permanent. When the cosmic manifestation does not exist, you exist as the original potency. So Citraketu, he is continuing to offer prayers to Lord Sankarshan. That Krishna is the creator, he maintains and he destroys. And he exists even before the creation. After the creation is destroyed, the Lord remains. Even Sripad Sankaracharya says that. Narayana Paravya. So here we can see that the Lord is transcendental. He's the creator, maintainer, and destroyer of the material world. Purport. The Brahma Samhita 533 says, Advaitam achyutamanadimanantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha Vedeshu Durlabam Adurlabam Atma Bhakta Govindam Adi Purusham Tam Aham Bhajami. I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead Govinda, Krishna, who is the original person, absolute, infallible, without beginning, although expanded into unlimited forms, still the same original, the oldest, and the person, always appearing as a fresh youth. Such eternal, blissful, all-knowing forms of the Lord cannot be understood even by the best Vedic scholars, but they are always manifest to pure, unalloyed devotees. So Srila Prabhupada in the purport is quoting Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma's prayers. Well, Lord Brahma is saying that he's worshipping Govinda, Krishna. Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. He's saying here very clearly, Lord Brahma is saying that Krishna is the original person. Govinda is the original person. He's the absolute truth. He is infallible Achyuta. He never comes under Maya. Never gets covered. Without beginning, God always exists. He exists eternally. And although God has expanded so many Vishnu tattvas, Jiva tattvas, but he himself still remains. Because someone may say, oh, you take an original paper and you cut the paper and the paper is no more, only the bits are there. No, God is not paper, he's spiritual. So although he has expanded into so many forms, he original Krishna still remains. Ete chamsa kalapumsa Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam, says Srimad Bhagavatam. And how to know Krishna? By the Vedas, very difficult to know Krishna. But the Vedic language is so flowery. One may say, oh, but the Vedas are there for us to understand God. Vedescha sarver ahameva vedya, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. But the Vedic language is very flowery. One may get carried away and get attracted to go to the heavenly planets instead. One may get carried away by the rituals. So the how to know Krishna? By the devotees, the Mahajans, following in the footsteps of the Mahajans. The devotees are the ones who are telling us about Krishna. Of course, the Vedas are also proclaiming about Krishna, but we need to hear the Vedas from the devotees. Just like we can't just buy a textbook and say, I'm going to become a lawyer myself. I'll study this law book, buy a textbook, and I will become a lawyer. No, we need to go to the teacher who's expert, and they can teach us how to study. So the devotees. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has no cause, for he is the cause of everything. Sarva Karana Karanam. That's the position of Krishna. So one may say, then what is the cause of God? No, he's God. He has no cause. He is God. He is the Supreme Person. But he is the cause of everything. The Lord is beyond the workings of cause and effect. He is eternally existing. In another verse, the Brahma Samhita says, Andantarastha Parma Anuchayantrastham. The Lord exists within the gigantic universe and within the atom. So as the atom, the Paramatma is entered into every atom of the universe. And this entire material creation is the gigantic form, the Virat Roop. So we can see he can be so great and he can be so tiny. This is the inconceivable potency of God. He can be smaller than the smallest, greater than the greatest. The descent of the Lord into the atom and the universe indicates that without his presence, nothing could factually exist. So even the atom has its form. It can hold its form because the Paramatma is inside. Otherwise, the atom wouldn't be able to hold its form. Just like we are inside the body, till the time the soul is in the body, the soul is breathing, can move about. But as soon as the soul is left, it's dead body. We don't want anything to do with it. So similarly, this entire universe, the Supreme Lord has entered within it. And that's the reason it appears to be alive. So scientists say that water is a combination of hydrogen and oxygen. But when they see a vast ocean, they are puzzled about where such quantity of hydrogen and oxygen could have come from. They think that everything evolved from chemicals. But where did the chemicals come from? That they do not know. So you see, this is an interesting point, because we may say, oh, everything come from chemical, everything come from chemical, water come from hydrogen, oxygen. But where did the hydrogen, oxygen come from? Who created it? In our experience, we are not seeing any just chemicals being produced out of thin air. We never experienced anything just being created in the air randomly. No. Somebody's putting hydrogen together, oxygen together, and then they create water in the laboratory. So we can see that if we try to actually understand nature, we can see that there's a creator behind this material world. So since the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the cause of all causes, he can produce immense quantities of chemicals to create a situation for chemical evolution. We actually see that chemicals are produced from living entities. For example, a lemon tree produces many tons of citric acid. The citric acid is not the cause of the tree, rather, the tree is the cause of the acid. It's true, no? It's not that we put citric acid in the ground, we are not going to get a lemon tree. No, when we put the seed, we'll get a tree. From the tree, we'll get many lemons. And then from the lemons, we can make citric acid. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the cause of everything. He is the cause of the tree that produces the citric acid. Bijam mam sarva bhutanam. Devotees can see that the original potencies causing the cosmic manifestation are not in chemicals, but in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for he is the cause of the chemicals. So the devotee understands. Devotee understands. Wherever he looks, he understands. He sees energy of Krishna. He sees that, oh, the sun is the energy of Krishna. The light is coming from Krishna. The air is created by Krishna. Because he has love for Krishna. That's how he can see Krishna everywhere. Yeah. So everything is caused or manifested by the energy of the Supreme Lord. And when everything is annihilated or dissolved, the original potency enters the body of the Supreme Lord. So this material world is temporary, stays for some time. It's created by the Lord, and when it's destroyed, everything again goes into the body of the Lord. The Lord remains. So he creates the material world for some time, and after that, after some time, he dissolves it, he destroys it. It all enters into the body of Mahavishnu. Therefore, this verse says, Ada ante picha satmanam yadruvam tad evan taralepi. The word dhruvam means permanent. The permanent reality is Krishna, not this cosmic manifestation. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Aham Adir Hi Devanam and Mata Sarvam Pravartate. Krishna is the original cause of everything. Arjuna recognized Lord Sri Krishna as the original person. Purusham Shasvatam, Divyam Adi Devam, Ajam Vibhum. And the Brahma Samhita describes him as the original person, Govindam Adi Purusham. He is the cause of all causes, whether at the beginning, at the end, or in the middle. So we can see here so clearly is mentioned, Citraketu Maharaj is clearly saying that, my dear Lord, you are the one who's the creator. Because we may study otherwise. Modern science may teach us otherwise, that this world is created just by a combination of chemicals or by just some kind of a big bang. But no, There is a creator. In our experience, we have never seen that a bang is creating anything, only creates destruction. So, all the authorities, the scriptures are telling us that the Lord is the creator of this material world, creator, maintainer, and destroyer. Any comments? Hmm? No? Okay. Going on then. So then we are hearing repeatedly, it's the energy of Krishna, it's the energy of Krishna. Then how can we try to remember? So Lord Brahma says that we can see Krishna everywhere when we anoint our eyes with the salve of love. When we revive this love that we have for Krishna, then we will be able to see Krishna everywhere. We'll be able to understand that everything belongs to Krishna. Just like the mother, she has love for the son. So she's just seeing his backpack, but she's remembering the son. Ah, backpack belongs to my son. She's not just seeing just a backpack. So because of the love, so the devotee has love for Krishna, and so he can see Krishna everywhere. So Shiti Adibir, how do we say it? Shiti Adibir Esha Kilavrita.
शकिलावृतब्धभि किलावृतः
Shiti Adibir Esha Kilavrita. Saptabheda Shagonotarer Andakosha.
सप्तभेदशगुणोत्तरे अन्धकोशः
Yatra Patate Anukalpaha.
Shilpa ji, we cannot hear you.
Oh, you're not able to hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear
No.
you. We can hear. Yeah.
Okay. Yatra Patate Anukalpaha.
यत्र पतति अनुकल्पः
Sahanda Kotibhistad Anantaha.
सः
कोटिकोटिभिस्तदनन्तः
Every universe is covered by 7 layers: earth, water, fire, air, sky, the total energy, and false ego, each 10 times greater than the previous one. There are innumerable universes besides this one. And although they are unlimitedly large, they move about like atoms in you. Therefore, you are called unlimited, Ananta. The Brahma Samhita 548 says, Yasyeka vasita kalam athavalambya jivanti loma vilaja jagat andanatha.
Huh?
Breakfast, second floor se hai,
Vishnur
golden
Mahan
restaurant,
Sa
garden
Iha Yasya Kala Vishesho
Satyaka Day.
Govindamadi Purusham Tam Aham Bhajami. The origin of the material creation is Mahavishnu, who lies in the causal ocean. While he sleeps in that ocean, millions of universes are generated as he exhales, and they are all annihilated when he inhales. This Mahavishnu is a plenary portion of a portion of Vishnu, Govinda, Yasya Kala Vishesha. So we can see here, we heard in the previous verse, Citraketu is saying that you are the cause of creation, maintenance, and annihilation. Here Prabhupada is mentioning what happens. Mahavishnu is lying on the Karana ocean. This is Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma is saying. When he's sleeping in his yoga nidra, his sleeping is not like us. When we are sleeping, we forget everything, but not Mahavishnu. When he's sleeping, millions of universes are coming from him, pores of his body. And when he's inhaling, everything goes back into him. And who is this Mahavishnu? He is a plenary portion of a portion of Vishnu, Govinda. The word Kala refers to a plenary portion of a plenary portion. From Krishna or Govinda comes Balaram. From Balaram comes Sankarshan. From Sankarshan, Narayan. From Narayan, the second Sankarshan. From the second Sankarshan, Mahavishnu. From Mahavishnu, Garbhadakshay Vishnu. And from Garbhadakshay Vishnu, Kshirodakshay Vishnu. Kshirodakshay Vishnu controls every universe. So we can see Krishna. First, Krishna expands as who?
The four Balaramji.
Mahavishnu.
No, first
No,
is
the
Krishna.
Sankarshan.
First, Krishna
Balaram.
expands as
Balaram, no? Or the
Balaram.
Sankarshan.
Balaram.
yeah, Balaram.
Balaram.
First is the Balaram.
Balaram.
Sankarshan.
First is Balaram. Then Balaram expands as
Sankarshan.
So
Sankarshan.
Chaturvyu.
Vasudev.
Sankarshan. From
Vasudev.
Balaram, Balaram comes Sankarshan. So
Sankarshan.
From
Balaramji
Sankarshan
is
comes the Chatur.
Narayan.
From Sankarshan, Narayan is coming. And from Narayan, the second Sankarshan. So this is the second Chaturvyuha. So first they are expanding as the first Chaturvyuha, and then from the second Chaturvyuha. Then from the second Chaturvyuha, the Sankarshan of the second Chaturvyuha comes Mahavishnu, Garbhadakshay Vishnu, Kshirodakshay Vishnu.
Just one confusion, Shilpaji. I'm just clarifying that from Krishna comes the Balaramji. And from the Balaramji comes the four Chaturvyuha. No, the first Chaturvyuha or no? And from that Sankarshan comes the next Chaturvyuha. And then the Narayan comes, right? From that no.
So I've also heard,
Yeah.
that from Balaram comes Narayan. Then Narayan comes Chaturvyuha. But also mostly it is always said from Balaram comes the first Chaturvyuha.
Yeah.
And then from this, then comes the second Chaturvyuha.
And then comes the Narayan.
And then comes the Mahavishnu.
Yeah, Mahavishnu, yeah. Because actually in Caitaniya Caritamita, when we read on the Balaramji's birthday, when we read that Nityanand Prabhu, then that part mentioned very clearly. So maybe, yeah. So like both are correct, right? Both are correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So this gives an idea of the meaning of Ananta, unlimited. So we can see, this is unlimited Krishna. They're all coming from Krishna, actually. So what is to be said of the unlimited potency and the existence of the Lord? This verse describes the coverings of the universe. Saptabir Dasha Gunotarer Andakosha. The first, okay, so now we are trying to understand, because Citraketu, he said, right? Every universe is covered by 7 layers. What are the 7 layers?
Earth, water, fire, air, sky, and the total energy, the false ego.
Yeah, total energy is Samatattva. Okay. And then each is lesser than the previous one, or is
it is 10 times greater than the previous ones. 10 times.
So can we imagine that how packed up
you
this
sent us.
universe is?
I remember you sent us one picture of the universe.
Yeah. So that was only one universe. Huh?
Yeah, one universe. Oh my God.
So we can see how packed up it is. Okay, so then the first covering is the earth, second is water, third is fire, fourth is air, fifth is sky, sixth is the total material energy, seventh is the false ego. So that's why false ego is the thickest, because it goes 10 times greater, right? 10 times thicker, 10 times thicker. So we can see false ego is so thick. Beginning with the covering of earth, each covering is 10 times greater than the previous one. Thus, we can only imagine how great each universe is. And there are many millions of universes. as confirmed by the Lord Himself in Bhagavad Gita 10:42. Athava bahunetena kim gyatena tava arjuna veshtabhyam idam kritsnam ekam shena sthito jagat. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. The entire material world manifests only 1/4 of the Supreme Lord's energy. Therefore, he is called Ananta. So, this material creation is what portion of the Lord's total creation?
1/4.
1/4.
1/4. So that means the spiritual is how much?
3/4.
3/4. That's right. And we have to understand that it's always also still expanding because it's unlimited. So the spiritual world is always expanding. Similarly, material world is also expanding because 3/4 and 1/4, the ratio is remaining. And spiritual world is unlimited. So unlimited expanding. And therefore he is Ananta, inconceivable. Can we even begin to imagine? Oh my God, how can you even imagine it? Vishaya
Hare Krishna.
Trishonara. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Yeah, I wanted to just check that you said that covering that false ego is like so thick. So is it
Yeah.
because of this false ego? I mean, there's ignorance, so much of ignorance. Does it mean that?
Yes. Yes. Because of false ego, there is ignorance. Yes.
So that's why we find, right? Like
Yes.
it's more of ignorance in this world, right?
That's right.
Oh,
That's right. And what's our ignorance?
that we think that we are the master. I mean, we don't know that
We
we
are
are
the
part
body.
and
We are
parcel
the
of
body.
That's right. We are the
part and
body.
parcel of.
That's right. We don't realize we have a master. We think we are controller. Yes, it's our ignorance. So that's the false ego. So what is the true ego? If we are saying there's something false, there has to be something true. Because some people say, oh, I want to give up my false ego. But yeah, we can give up false ego, but that means there's a true ego. And what's the true ego?
We are spirit
That's
souls. We are eternal servants of the
Servitor
Lord.
of Krishna. Eternal servitor of the Krishna.
belong
We
to
are the
Krishna.
servant.
That's right.
Eternal.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. That's right. Thank you. Lord Chaitanya says, Jivera Swarupai Krishna Nitya Das. That is our real ego. That's our real designation, our real position. Jivera Swarupai Krishna Nitya Das. So it is for every living entity, not that, oh, only he is a servant of Krishna. No, I am also a servant of Krishna. It's for each and every one of us that we are all servant of Krishna. So we have to revive this true ego of ours. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Vishaya Trisho Nara Pashavo.
Vishya Trisho Nara Pashavo.
Yo Upasate Vibhutirna Param Tvam.
Ya upasat.
Upasate Vibhuti Param.
Tesham Ashisha Isha.
Tesham
Ashisha
Isha.
Anu Vinashyanti Yatharaja Kulam.
Tadanu
Anurishyanti
Vichayanti
Yatha Raja Kulam.
Kulam.
O Lord, O supreme unintelligent persons who thirst for sense enjoyment and who worship various demigods are no better than animals in the form of human life. Because of their animalistic propensities, they fail to worship your lordship, and instead they worship the insignificant demigods, who are but small sparks of your glory. With the destruction of the entire universe, including the demigods, the benedictions received from the demigods also vanish, just like the nobility when a king is no longer in power. So Citraketu Maharaj is going on to say that this is what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita also, right? Those who are less intelligent, they worship the demigods. So Citraketu is saying the same thing, that because of our desire for sense gratification, we are worshipping for demigods. worshipping demigods. And in that way, we fail to worship Krishna. And then what happens is we get the benediction from demigods. They are quickly pleased with us, but the benediction is temporary. It's not eternal. It's only for some time. For some time we can live with them, enjoy with them in their planet. But at one point of time, this entire material world is going to be collapsed. And the demigods' planets also will be collapsed. They also have to give up their positions. They also have to give up their bodies. Bhagavad Gita 7:26 says, Kamestester rita jnana prapadyantinya devata. Those whose minds are distorted by material desires surrender unto the demigods. Similarly, this verse condemns worship of the demigods. We may show our respect to the demigods, but the demigods are not worshipable. So one may get confused that what does this mean? Respect, we have to respect everyone. The demigods are great, powerful personalities. They are devotees of the Lord. They are highly qualified. They are much greater persons than us, so they surely deserve our highest respect. But worship, bhaja is for Krishna. Love and worship is for Lord Krishna only. What happens is with demigods, we may have business dealings. I give you this, you give me this. We may have that kind of a dealing with the demigod. And all this happens because of our material desires. There are very few who would really have love for a particular demigod. There may be, but they would be very, very few. Majority would come in the category of worshipping demigods due to material desires. And Krishna is saying the intelligence of those who worship the demigods is lost, Rita Jnana, because these worshippers do not know that when the entire material cosmic manifestation is annihilated, the demigods who are the departmental heads of that manifestation will be vanquished. When the demigods are vanquished, the benedictions given by the demigods to unintelligent men will also be vanquished. So you see what happens is we may get a particular favor from a particular person because he is in a power at that time. So till the time he's in power, we are protected. But as long as he's not in that powerful position, we cannot get those perks. We cannot get those, he'll say, I'm sorry, I don't have the authority anymore. Till the time somebody has the authority, they can do the favor for us. They can give us what we are asking for. But if they are not in that position, then they're just going to say, I'm sorry, I don't have that authority anymore. So the demigods, their position is also temporary. It's a post that they are occupying. So why Krishna is saying unintelligent? Because he's saying you're going to find yourself in the same position in one day. Rather, you worship me, get out of the material world. That is a sign of intelligence. Bhagavatam says those who are intelligent in the age of Kali will worship Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, will worship Krishna, who comes as Lord Chaitanya, by the worship him how? By Sankirtan Yagya. Bhagavatam says that is a sign of intelligence. So therefore, a devotee should not hanker to obtain material opulence by worshipping the demigods, but should engage in the service of the Lord, who will satisfy all his desires. So Bhagavatam is saying, okay, you have material desires. Of course, we have material desires. That's why we are in the material body. That's why we are in the material world. If we didn't have these material desires, we wouldn't be here in the material body. So then what to do? Bhagavatam is saying, akama sarva kama va, moksha kama vadharadi, tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Whether full of material desires, free from material desires, or desiring liberation. A person who has broader intelligence must, by all means, worship the Supreme Whole, the personality of Godhead. Bhagavatam 2:3-10. This is the duty of a perfect human being. So see, wherever is mentioned worship to God, worship to Krishna, always is mentioned is the duty of a human being. Whereas wherever is mentioned worship for demigods, always mentioned is because of our material desires we are worshipping demigods. But whereas our duty, Bhagavatam always says, is to worship Krishna. If we are not worshipping Krishna, we are not doing our duty as a human being. So one who has the shape of a human being but whose actions are nothing but those of an animal is called Narapashu or Dvipadapashu or two-legged animal. A human being who is not interested in Krishna consciousness is condemned herewith as Narapashu. So this instruction is for us. We have to try to understand it personally, not that we go around telling people that. No. Well, of course, what we can tell people is, my dear, with humility, like how Lord Nityananda, with great humility, is asking everyone to take up the chanting of Hare Krishna mantra. But for us, we can try to understand our own self. Oh, Bhagavatam is saying, it's my duty that I have to worship Krishna. If I'm not worshipping Krishna, I am a two-legged animal. That's what Bhagavatam is saying. And where if we are wanting others to take up Krishna consciousness, we don't say them such things, but we approach them with the greatest humility, as Lord Nityananda approaches everyone, as Haridas Thakur approaches everyone with great humility, my dear sir. Please worship Krishna, chant the holy name. Bolo Krishna, Bhajo Krishna, Koro Krishna Shiksha. Follow the instructions of Krishna and Bhagavad Gita. So then the ignorance that we have, that we were just speaking about, how will that go away? We need to chant the holy name, hear Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, follow the instructions of Krishna, worship Krishna. That's how our ignorance can go away. Is that okay? Comments? Questions?
This is just the Citraketu Maharaj is offering. And like now we can see the difference after hearing it from his, like after the mercy of Narad Muni. So like that means that the Guru's instruction and mercy is really important, because he's saying so perfect things that which are in Srimad Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and everything from Brahma Samhita, and like, everything from authorities. So he's got his, Citraketu Maharaj, Narad Muni, by the mercy of Narad Muni, all this is coming.
The realization came after this, right? The mercy.
Face to face. He also saw Anantashesh face to face. That is a big thing.
Mercy of Narad Muni, yes, that's right.
Mercy of Narad Muni is the major.
And Angira, right? Rishi, right?
Sage Angira, yes.
Angira.
Yeah, mercy of the
But
great
Angira
sages.
Muni couldn't do anything previously. He had to bring Narad Muni. Remember you mentioned, Shilpa, that to give the knowledge, he brought Narad Muni with him because he's the pure devotee.
Yeah, Angira also is pure devotee, of course.
But then he brought
Narad
Muni. He brought Narad.
Mentioned, Angira Muni says that himself, that, oh, I brought Narad Muni to give you the instruction.
Yeah. And he's speaking so beautiful things. That's why he was able to remember and instruct Indra at the time of that war when he was Vritrasur. So this is all the big. So the bhakti is never lost. It is so beautiful. This is never lost. When you are lost in your next life, somehow, if you are lost, then the bhakti attracts you and you come back. If you are.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. That's why we are, again, like what Krishna says, right? That just a little beginning can save you from greatest type of fear. Just a little beginning. So what is Trayate Mahato Bhayat. Just a little beginning, he says, just begin at least, because it'll really save us. We're going to hear more about Gajendra, Canto 8. How is Gajendra able to chant the prayers? What you're saying, that bhakti is never lost. So, yeah, it's true.
And even from third canto, with Adi Gadadhar Prabhu was reading from third canto, where Maitreya Muni and Vidurji are having the conversation. And he also mentioned in that even if you are chanting sometimes, aparad, not aparad, you're doing properly, you're not. Don't stop chanting. Doesn't matter. If you're not doing it, you're taking smaller steps. But if you're doing it very properly, then your steps are bigger and it's like that means that you're running towards it. But if you're not able to do it properly, sometimes your mind is running here and there, and it's been so much your intention or something is coming in, but keep chanting. Those are those mini steps. You need to keep taking the steps. Doesn't matter if it is big or small, but those steps are required. So chanting is important. Adi Gadadhar Prabhu said in his lecture, the third canto.
Thank
So,
you. Thank you. Thank you for that. We'll stop here for today. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta ki jai.